So good evening and namaste to Sai Interviews. We are conducting series of interviews with experts in the field of mental health and therapy. So today we are very fortunate to have Dr. Asha ma'am. So I have a long list of introduction about her, but basically would like to speak more, looking at her as a human being. I would like to speak not as a professional, because professional degrees are so long. So she's doctorate in art therapy, and she's a famous art therapist, and top in the list of art therapy. Other than that, as a human being, I love to introduce her. Basically, I look at her as a very dynamic lady. She's very simple in heart, and when it comes to profession, she's very aggressive, because I was one among her student, and experiencing her sessions really matters. And her knowledge, her wisdom, you just touch her, she will answer for, if it is okay, if you are listening. And ma'am can speak for hours together for one question in the diploma course when we are doing, and she was answering our questions. Really, ma'am, that wisdom I can never forget. And teacher, as a teacher, she was never very, controlling or demanding. She was very humble. As a student, she used to mix with us. And we don't know when we completed our diploma, and when we have, now I started using in every soap note, in every, with every client, I mention art therapy by default. So because I have tasted the fruits of art therapy myself, in my for my own self, healing myself, or helping myself, and for my clients. So namaste, ma'am. Welcome to this show, Sai Interviews. We are calling this as Sai Interviews because we are taking the topics related to psychology and mental health. Yeah. So to begin with, generally, people tend to have concept clarity, concept confusion. Concept confusion. People do not understand the name of the therapy itself. And there are so many myths around art therapy. So I want you to give us clarity. What is art therapy first? Then we'll get into the other topics.
Okay. Welcome you all to Roadless Travel. So when I talk about art therapy, I do mention this word. It is roadless travel. There is no definite path for us to travel, and road less traveled. So not everybody is going to choose this road. So it's a roadless travel. So to begin with, let me put this question into two questions and then answer this. What is art therapy? Let us divide that into what is art, what is therapy. So art is universe. When I say universe, it is the window to subconscious. Universe is the way you think, the way you emote, the way you act. And the complete cosmos is made of three things. It's a trinity: the creation, the protection, and the way it is being destroyed. When a thought is born, the thought gets into your emotions, blend with your emotions, and then it converts into action. That is the mechanism. Universe is also created in the same way, that some thought has come to a body. We call it as heavenly body, static body, dynamic body, and then it gets charged through, we call it as emotion, electronic motion. So when we have heavy emotions in our body, we don't even have to move. We don't even want to move. There are sometimes we become very aggressive. So emotions are the energy in the body. And these two things come closer for us to get that willingness to get up and do something. So the whole of cosmos is about protecting this energy, generating this energy, and destroying ignorance out of our life. So art is a competency tool that enable us to think, identify our feelings, and then act. This is the alignment. So for me, art is universe. It creates us and it protects us and destroy our ignorance. What else is art? Art is a healer. Art itself is a healer. So whenever we are hurt, the first thing that we that come out of our mouth is ma, amma, ma, or something which is very motherly. Art is mother. Art is a feminine nature. So usually when we are too much into Western learning, everything is a divisional learning, or we classify everything under different groups and study. But when we actually come with a very strong philosophy of Vedanta, all of us do have feminine and masculine characters in us. If you have heard about animus complexes and all that. So art is something that encourage you to be yourself. Lot of times there are women who possess masculine character. Okay, women body with a masculine character, a masculine body with a woman character, you know, but we, through the genitals identification, we say she is a girl, he is a boy. But art doesn't do that. It brings the natural self outside and help us to understand the characters, the strength, the potential that we have. So that is why art is Shiva and Shakti, both. It gives you energy to live, at the same time, the consciousness to watch ourselves like a third person. And what else is art? Art is leakage to subconscious mind. So whatever we have, there is the continuous photography going on in our life since our childhood, and all these photographs are protected in a specific folders in your subconscious mind. So whenever we encounter different experiences, these photographs will help us to pick up certain action, make decisions, choices in our life. So such choices are responsible for the way we conduct ourselves. So the conducting energy is noticed by the practice of art. A simple art piece, if when you look at that, we can actually see how much stress the person has taken in life, how much emotions are bleeded on the paper, and how much the person is introvert, not able to express his challenges, the self-concept, the esteem, the respect he has on himself, the space he has taken for himself. So art is something which is an expression. So we express ourselves through art, be it emotions, be it the kind of thinker you are, be the kind of intelligence that you possess. Irrespective of all this, you express yourself. If this is art, what is art? Therapy. Right? Therapy in a very simple form, making a person feel good, important, and understood. Therapy is all about that. You make somebody feel important because they wouldn't have had importance in their life. That's why they are your clients. Making them feel good. Nobody is there to hear them, give them ears. You know, you're making them feel good by telling you're important and listening to them. And what else? You know, good, important, and understood. We can't understand anybody. That's the hair, you know. So how much ever number of years and days you spend with a person, end of the day, you feel, I was not able to understand this person. So the mechanism of understanding another person is not reality. What we can make sure is make them feel understood. Okay, this person is trying to understand me itself is a big strength. So art therapy is using art to make somebody feel good, important, and understood.
So exhaustive, ma'am. You have given the full insight into art therapy. What is, art is definitely the meaning or the explanation you have given. I think we need to search for it for 2-3 days. Then still we don't find the actual meaning of art. Very insightfully given the definition of art therapy. And I think the audience or the listeners of this live later who are into counseling profession, I think they should, make a note of this entire, answer to write what is art therapy, ma'am. So coming back to the mental health, art therapy definitely is according to you, it is making us feel important, feel good, feel better, or feel heard. Uh, so we want you to throw more light on how effectively this art therapy can be used for mental health issues in specific,
Okay.
with examples.
Yes, yes. I would take an example of 10-year. So when he came to Bangalore for counseling, he was being brought by his parents because of the drastic change in his behavior. So they did mention that he had a very soft behavior, very, very humble child. Have immediately in a span of uh, 10 or 20 weeks have become aggressive. So they did mention that they are giving everything that has to be provided for the child, including emotions and the love, the compassion, being with him always, spending quality time, everything. And they were clueless why this child is behaving this way. So when we gave him art therapy, a very simple topic, the family drawing, the therapeutical family drawing is a concept in art therapy where we will try to understand the family dynamics, what is hurtful to the child and what is the difference the child, is noticing. So when we gave him the family drawing, we could see that he has drawn himself aside in one part of the paper and the rest of the family and connecting it with a train. This is a very unusual kind of art when a child draws and he's the only son and we expect a nice drawing holding balloon, that
Yes.
kind of age group. But why is he drawing a line on that train also? Why is it? So after putting constant effort in understanding why this, then we came to know that there was environmental shift in the child without taking the consent of the child, whether the child wants to shift. They were living in Mysore for 10 years and he
Yeah.
had, from his
Sudden
birth,
shift.
sudden shift. And parents did not take this as a serious thing. Since they feel that they have put him to a better school, better environment, they feel that as a providers, they have done the best. So it's very important for us here to notice that it is a leakage to subconscious mind. So not every child is going to draw what they learn in the drawing class. That's the difference between the drawing class and the art therapy sessions. So when you ask me mental health issues, usually for the counselors who are there, maybe familiar with the word cognition. So the psychology doesn't define cognition the way the Vedanta does. So I would like to define what is cognition so that I'll be able to answer effectively your question. Cognition is the space between the stimuli and the response. Stimuli is the trigger. So there is somebody who is triggering me on daily basis. There is somebody who is putting me to an awkward position. Okay. And there is a space and then I react. Because of the junk food, because of the lifestyle, the space is becoming lesser, lesser, lesser and lesser. So we say cognitive disability, dissonance or distortion. Okay. When I use this space, I will be able to take a pause, take a breathe, think what to respond and I'll be responding. If there is no space, soon after the trigger, I am in an urgency to respond. I'm in an urgency to react and answer this question. The space is very little. Okay, this is the reason for mental health issues. 90% of the mental illness is only because of the little space between the stimuli and responses. So what does art do before getting into the other aspects? Art increases the horizon. So for us to stay in peace for that moment, think, delay in responding, and become a human at that moment. So when we define Manushya, Manushya is Manu plus Uddeshya. Manu is the one who possesses mind. Uddeshya is intention. When mind and intention come together, he becomes human being. So lot of times we are not human. We beat our own child, right? So why do we lose that? Because of the little space in the between the trigger and the responses. So when we art is a medium which increases this, which will help us to understand what is the problem and generate the solution and make the better choice. It takes time. So the more you indulge in art, there might be a lot of reels that you might see. After drawing mandala, I became a new person. And I believe in art. I am an artist. And I didn't know that art has affected my place. During COVID, it did happen that for just for fun, just to spend that productive time. Lot of them practiced mandala, and they kept on telling my personal life, there is a drastic change as a human being, why is this? Because art is a predictive medicine. We don't acknowledge it. And in 600 BC, Sushruta did mention that art is a wonderful psycho-competency tool that can help us to understand our mind better. So whenever there is a mental health issue, increasing the horizon is the job of the art. That is how art therapy is effective when compared to other therapies. We can see the immediate changes, or we can see the person getting relaxed after the therapy. Hope I answered your question.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It is very clear. Very clear. And as you mentioned, when you mention about that cognition, it is applicable to every issue. It's not specifically low self-esteem hai, anger issue hai, depression hai, anxiety hai, but all the issues can be handled with this.
Correct, correct.
Yeah. So you have given us the basic actual content behind my question. You have answered more deeper way. So you answered two questions in one question.
Okay.
Ma'am, ma'am, there is one general myth in many of us. But now I got clarity after your classes. But then people think that to become an artist or to use the art therapy, I should be artist.
Yeah.
Is it true?
No. Being an artist and being an art therapist, artist can be an art therapist as well, but art therapist may not be an artist.
Right.
So it is the conflict between the fluid intelligence and the crystallized intelligence. Therapy is the fluid and also the crystallized intelligence, but art is a fluid intelligence. When I say fluid intelligence, it's just the flow of colors, just the imagination. There are artists who can even color the sky green. There are the artists who can come up with an abstract parts. Okay. So for an art therapist, it is very important to balance our fluid and crystallized intelligence. Meaning, fluid is we should be able to express. The one who is ready to express is an art therapist. And crystallized intelligence, we need to bring in that patience. We need to insulate ourselves from the external environment. There might be a child who might be crying, or there might be a woman who is speaking your story. We should not internalize. If we can work on our self-discovery, if we can reinvent ourselves with better skills, anyone on this planet who is a Manushya, who has a mind with intention, can become an art therapist. It's not that they have to be an artist. For artists, you need artistic skills. For you to become an art therapist, you need to be a human being. That's all.
Right. So you need to be expressive and you need to, guard yourself. You need to shield yourself. Yeah. Otherwise, you get affected when you become a therapist.
Definitely, we will be in need of a therapist.
Right.
Yeah.
Ma'am, when you were telling about this guarding self, I get this immediate question. Do you think this art therapy is helpful for the counselors also?
Yes.
Because we tend to burn out, we tend to become emotional, we empathize and we experience the emotions sometimes. So in this process, what is your opinion on using art therapy for the counselors to heal or relax?
Yeah, Geeta ji, this is a fantastic question. I love to answer this. So we call this as compassion fatigue because of the influences, because of the work standards. We feel we shouldn't commit mistakes. We should love everybody, and we should be at the receiving end, or all these stories. And when you talk to anybody in a rough voice, end of the day, they will tell you, you are a counselor. How can you behave like this?
Yes.
We should watch our behavior. We should watch our persona. Our aura has to be maintained. It's a stress always. And especially when you counsel, there are a lot more you take. And what do you take? Nobody is going to come and sit in front of you to share their happy stories. Geeta, look, my life has become amazing. Nobody come to you for that. So why they need you is when they are going through the rough pages of their life, when they are flipping the dark pages of your life, they want you, your ears, and your patience. So when we breathe in, okay, there are a lot more negative that we take. Okay, that we call it as the vibration or the frequency. It is the chakra philosophy that I'm speaking about. When you have a serious eye contact, there is the exchange of energy happening. You're listening through the voice, through your auditory. You are taking a lot more. So it is very important to equip ourselves to release it, to take all these toxins and detoxify your body and mind before you start afresh, before you reach out to another client.
Right.
How do you do that? Just what I do, I'm going to tell. After every session, I have a piece of paper here and I have a pen. Sometimes I scribble. I go through the process at an imaginary level, how the woman vented out her feeling, or the child cried, or what kind of sharing happened. This is called as the mechanical empathy. Sometimes it will be very difficult to empathize people. So we use motor empathy, which is there in art therapy, that we imagine the whole story, closing the eyes, we keep scribbling on the paper. That way, we are releasing everything, whatever unknowingly we have taken. And we are ready for empathizing another person.
Right.
End of the day, if we don't release, forget about others, we will not be able to empathize our own selves. Right? So art therapy is a wonderful psycho competency tools or socio-emotional tool which will help us to be in the society or be among people, but insulate ourselves and release emotion without disturbing mind, body, and environment.
Right, right. When you were giving this, when you use the word recharge yourself or, regaining that capacity to empathize with another person, it is like, charging our cell phones every night.
Yes,
Ma'am. So because morning pura discharge hota hai and sham ko you will go and, charge the phone so that you are ready for the next day.
yes,
So
yes.
same thing, counselor also should charge self.
Yeah, maybe painting a mandala would be the choice. You have your own choice. There are people who
Mhm.
are extremely happy painting or filling the colors. There are people who don't want colors, want to draw something or scribble. It is your choice where you want to invest your time for this process, but this is very effective.
Yeah. So, ma'am, generally, which age group? Again, this question comes, बच्चों को काम करता है ఇది పిల్లలకు పని చేస్తుందా or some people will ask like illiterates or जो पढ़ाई लिखाई नहीं करते उनको यूज होता है क्या so just wanted to understand which age group it is effective or which strata of people it is effective that question is always asked to me so which age group the art therapy is more suitable which
Hmm.
type of people, which type of clients this art therapy is more effective?
Okay. So when we are talking about children or adolescents,
Mm,
especially,
yes.
we need to understand their world before we counsel them. So for rapport building, art is extremely useful, art as a therapy to build extremely effective rapport. And when we are talking about their world is made of four simple things. Simplicity. You can build rapport if you are simple.
Hmm.
Okay, not a complicated person, like their parents, like the teachers, like the environment. So they should find simplicity. And the second thing is the wonder. They get connected to wonders of life. So they should see some wonder. Art can create wonder for them, you
Hmm.
know. And number three is joy. The whole process of counseling should be joy for them. That is the reason they don't want to write, they don't want to read, and don't want to do certain things, because it is not a pleasureful process. And fun. The whole experience should be of fun. So when you can, art can only create, and art is the only classical element on this earth, which has the potency to create all this for the young adults or adolescents or children. That is simple. Art is very simple. It doesn't come with any manual. Whatever color you put it on the paper. However you put it on the paper. You are not judged. Okay, your skills are not judged. You have no conscious efforts, because there is nobody to give you grades here.
Yeah.
Okay, it is very simple. And it is wonder. There is somebody who is accepting you and your work right in front of you, and we call them as counselors. Okay. And it is the whole process is creating so much of joy within.
Hmm.
Because
Right.
in these days, children don't have joy. Even in the games, they are judged.
Yes.
They are compared. And the stress is there to even get along with their friends. They need to maintain standards. They have to have ABCD. They have very clear instructions within.
Yeah.
So they all carry the trophy and manual with them. So it is very important for us to give that space for them where they see themselves, who they are. So art is the only journey. Finally, the whole process is not gyan giving exercise. They would have had it enough. You have to be like this. You are already 14. Now, when are you going to study? They would have heard all that. Respect parents, respect God, this, everything. So here it is fun. Nobody is telling them you have to be this, you should do this. There is no instructions, advices, gyans coming out of anybody. So here is when art becomes medicine for them.
Oh.
It gives a pause for them to be themselves, where, as you told, yeah, they get charged. When they get charged, the emotions rushes, and the positive emotions will take care of their hormones as well. Be it there are the stress hormones. Soon after this is research being done, where 21 students, it is the research of Toronto University, where 21 students from the artistic background and 21 students from non-artistic background. And they scanned them after indulging them or putting them to 21 days of rigorous work on their specific system. Like this 21 students worked with art, and they wanted to do some paintings, they did, and they had fun, joy, simplicity, everything were there. These were the students who were given tasks to study this much, to recite this much, all that. When they were here examined, the hippocampus, which is very important aspect to understand memory, these students who indulge in art were having way more capacity and capability compared to those students. The cortex, the decision-making unit, these people were more stronger than academicians. And finally, the way the happiness and all that had the amygdala, which is an emotional unit of our life. Sometimes it hijacks your emotions. Okay,
Yes.
these people were well equipped to control themselves. Self-control were way ahead, and they had delay gratification, and they had perseverance and patience towards everything. So if art can transform a person from A to B, this is all we need in counseling, transformation. For us, we may influence them with all our skill, but it is very important for them to make a choice that I need to do. Where is that hope and willpower coming from? It is coming from the joy and happiness, the contentment of my life. So be it 3 minutes, 4 minutes, or 10 minutes, or 20 minutes of session, they spend with you with art. This gives them that kind of charge.
So
So
it is very
definitely,
suitable for,
yes,
adolescents
these,
and children, according
yes,
to.
yes. And when it comes to adults, there are a lot of times we have our own challenges. It can be our verbal challenges. It can be whom to express, where to share, and trust issues because of our past experiences. And also our childhood voids that might be reflecting in today's person, you know. So art will help us to remove that baggages, become free. The more I express, the more I start putting it on papers, I will be able to see myself as a new person, the charged element. So it is for the adults as well. And when it comes to geriat, this is the process of regression. What I did not do in my life is what bothers them than what I did, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
art will help them to work on their guilt, work on their regression. It's
Hmm.
okay not to be okay. It's okay to
Beautiful.
spill paint. It's okay to draw shivery lines. It's okay to do all this. So when the more they hear it's okay not to be okay, that is what is a charging element for geriatric. So be it a 3-year-old or 90-year-old, art does the fixation at every stage of life very, very effective.
Right.
And there are a lot of research which has been done recently, 2016, 17, on my paper on the excellency in profession that also has contributed to understand art is a science. So when I presented my papers, more than 16 years or 15 years, my papers were not understood by the guides because of art was not considered to be a university subject. Okay, it was way different. So now art therapy is a trend. Art therapy is an effective tool. You are a counselor or coming from any profession, art therapy suits you to build rapport to that of establish your professional at a very high level. So art
So
is for
it's suitable
professional.
across the ages.
Yes, art is for professionals, and art therapy is for one who is an effective homemaker, which is way more challenging job. You know.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. So in all contexts, all age groups, in all settings, you mean to say this is suitable. And I have one experience of one working with one child where she was not opening up, and she was not even, ready to talk. So then it was free drawing given, and we asked her to draw whatever you want. So just draw yourself. I
Mhm.
said, you can draw yourself or draw anything of your choice. Then I saw that there was a small, that head she drew, and then she drew all the eyes only, just eyes. Complete paper was filled with eyes only.
Hmm.
And when we, get into the actual issue, she was having a lot of that conscious feeling, that anxiety of, getting into groups, getting into people, or the social anxiety was so high. Then later we understood, but initially she was not speaking, not telling. But this one art really helped me to start this, session. And then I asked, what does this mean? What does this eye telling? Then she says, ma'am, these many people are looking at me when I go out. So I don't feel like going out. So that's how, ma'am. So beautiful. It's like young children or, older adults
Yes.
really helps. And as you said, again, this mandala, regularly, continuously drawing mandala or, practicing mandala for 21 days actually helped so many of our counselors.
Correct.
We have
Correct.
practiced for 21 days.
Oh.
Beautiful, ma'am. So coming, when I was working with the Department of Police, Barossa, and Barossa is one-stop crisis center for women. So there we used to get a lot of cases with sexual abuse
Mhm.
or domestic violence, and people with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. So when we try to help them, see, basically they don't want to talk about it, number one,
Mm.
and they cannot express. There is no language or verbatim, or oh, they cannot speak out. So that's a constraint for them. Ma'am, according to you and your experience, how art therapy is effective and suitable for these sort of cases where they went through a sexual abuse or domestic violence or some PTSD because of loss or grief, whatever it is.
Mhm.
So just throw light on this, ma'am.
Okay. See, trauma, when do we call it as trauma? When does that become trauma is, usually there are the issues in people. Issues are those classifications where I have a problem. That's all. Others are not affected. Issues become problem when others also have problem because of me. Okay? And problems become turmoil when because of us, others are facing problems outside the family. And turmoil become trauma when I not only thinking or going through the problems, but also carrying it wherever I go and putting it on people sometimes or inflicting myself. So what exactly trauma is? When my head, my heart, and my gut is full of the same subject. Say that if there is a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old who has gone through physical and verbal abuse at home, wherever she goes, she carries in her head, that is, all her thoughts are related to only that. Wherever she goes, she carries that in the heart. Emotions that are coming out are through that only. The moment you go near her, she will do like this, as if you are coming and beating her. And wherever she goes, she carries that in the gut. She knows the answer, but she will not get up and tell. That becomes trauma. So what does art does? It will improve the health of gut first, Nabi. Okay, when you are meditating, Nabi is the first thing that get cleansed. Okay, when you are doing art, you forget about all this. You are cleansing your gut. Okay, Nabi, Hrud. Your emotions are getting released on the paper, right? Hrud, Kanta Rasana. So what I am not able to speak, I am putting it on paper. Nabi Hrud Kanta Rasana. So this art does effectively with people who have underwent trauma in their life. Whether they are the trauma carriers or have experienced trauma now or have anxiety of experiencing in the future, right? Especially when it comes to PTSD, there is a classic case study from Nimhans when Chennai underwent the tsunami issues. All the children, when HTP was given to them, house tree person, lot of them could draw this with water, floating bodies, floating coconut trees. Okay, they were going through PTSD because of the sight of tsunami was not easy for them to take it.
Yes.
So after series of art therapy sessions, we could take away the stress related to trauma. Okay, so art therapy is something that gives you the healthy gut, healthy heart, and healthy head. So where the thoughts reaches the emotions and emotions to actions very easy.
Ma'am, beautifully answered, ma'am. Beautifully answered. It's like, I could feel the answer when you were telling so insightfully. And it's very clear to understand. So whatever is there inside them in whichever, level, whichever intensity, whichever problem, they will be able to, put it outside.
Correct.
Because, ma'am, it's very tough. Generally, these sort of cases, it's very tough to understand them or tough to make them speak.
Correct.
So, yeah. Ma'am, again, we tend to look at, ma'am, there are 2-3 levels. First thing is when we look at this as, first rapport building, understanding the client. But then in different levels, in which are the forms or which are the levels this art therapy used? For example, I'll make my question more clear. For example, can we use this art therapy as a screening tool? Can we use this art therapy for healing,
Mm.
or can we use it as a preventive measure or curative measure? So in which level this art therapy is used in, counseling?
See, there are three forms of art therapy, especially. One is the analytical art therapy, therapeutical art, and then the healing art. So what does analytical art therapy is a completely logical and analytical lateral exercise where you are going to analyze how is the wound and where is the wound. That's all.
Okay.
Be it emotional wound for understanding. So when you are analyzing, when you are holding the paper, you usually understand there are pain. Okay, the more blottings are there on the paper, we say, okay, we see pain points on the drawing. So there should be some hidden pain. Sometimes you see lot of pressure on the paper such that you see the impression behind, oh, there is lot of pressure. Okay, this is analytical part of art, that we are able to make a new connection with the client. We are able to make that connection through their persona. Okay, they are able to keep their personality through their art, and we are analyzing. What is therapeutical art? Therapeutical art is now that I know where is the wound, how big the wound is. Therapeutical art is which medicine should be used to heal this wound. Okay, is this the wound caused by burn? Is this the wound caused by rashes? How is this wound caused? Is therapeutical art. Okay, so a lot of times we have problem in describing our wound. Okay, especially emotional wound, we don't want to show it to world that I'm weak. So therapeutical art will make that process easy. And healing art is now that I know the wound, now that I know the reason and cause of the wound, and I know this medicine is going to heal this wound.
Right.
Okay, so whatever it is, these three levels of, a lot of times client will come to you and you treat them the client and you give them art therapy analysis and you find low self-esteem and you talk to them, give them REBT or something, they will not come back to you because their problem is solved. For some, analytical therapy is enough.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, a simple talk is enough after that. Okay, I know the problem.
Yes,
Now I am ready to fight my battle. For some, it is not enough. They want hand-holding. Okay, now I know this issue. What to do? What next? Okay, that is when therapeutical art is important. That is when you fuse courage to them. You help them to identify their own flaws in life, come back to you, work hard, improve their self-nature, all. Okay, for few, if they know their potential at this stage, after art therapy sessions, they will not come to you. They feel they are enough. They are capable of managing it. Some need healing also. Okay, we don't know where my client is standing. Okay, offer them all this in order, in ordinance, that first analyze, then therapeutize, then heal. Lot of times healing starts first. That is not the method. Okay. We need to know through art where they need help. It's not that randomly I'm putting them. I see that now happening. That art is going to heal you. Come on, let me give you this therapy or put you to therapeutical mandala or teach you Sri Yantra, all that. No, you don't even know what the issues. So understanding the issue through the language of art is very much important. And processing that information through them is important. And then heal them. That is the method.
Right. So it is used at all the levels.
Yes.
Starting from identification and finding the reasons and then healing the client.
You interpret, the way you put it across to the client is also a vast learning.
Ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So ma'am, as many of them, the counselors are listening, can we listen like one or two, like one from this, the first stage tool, second, maybe identification card tool, one, and then healing ke liye what is used. Can you give us one example at each stage, ma'am?
See, since the time is the constraint, okay, I'm going to give you an analytical tool which anybody can do it. Okay. Whenever your client is there in front of you and you're not having the easy process and the client is having challenges to verbalize their issues, So first tell them draw anything. It's not be a topic at all. Just draw whatever comes to your mind on a paper.
E-hand.
Freehand drawing.
Ma'am.
Do you want to color? Color. Or you would like to give like that? Yes, give like. So there are the observations that you make. Number one is if your client is an emotional thinker. Okay, they think through their emotions. That's all. The day is emotion, the night is emotion.
Full of emotions.
Full of emotions. You see, the complete drawing is made out of curves. They draw hut, but they don't do this.
Right, right.
Everything is curve,
No
waves.
straight lines.
Yes. Okay. They are emotional thinkers. So now you should understand on what basis you need to make action plans. You need to address their emotions, and empathy is what is going to play its role. Okay. The second thing is the natural thinkers. Natural thinkers are those people who think whatever comes to their mind without adding masala. Like usually I see them in the hospitals. These villagers come to hospital. And when I was working in cancer hospital as a counselor, I could see two kinds of people there. One, this person has come from village, has no knowledge about chemotherapy, radiation, anything. They're just smiling and going, coming back, little pain was there. They are natural thinkers. For the one who has Googled everything, even before they are entering, they actually have that side effects on their body. Okay. So natural thinkers are, they don't think much doing and failure is okay. This is okay.
Everything is fine.
Yes. They have to be guided. Okay. Just empathy doesn't. Okay. So when do you see these natural thinkers? When you see lot of nature in their drawing. Very natural drawing. Okay, they bring a lot of nature into them. And number three is logical thinkers. You see geometrical drawings everywhere. The house is also one triangle and one square. The tree is also like this, two lines and this. Very geometrical, very lines you see.
Logical person.
Very logical. Okay, for them they need solution, not your empathy.
That solution they want.
You their time. Okay, after 3 sessions, nothing happened, no solution. So they are looking for solution, answers to their life. So directive counseling only helps, not called Rogerian principles for these people. And then the mechanical thinkers. Thinking becomes mechanism to them. Everything is logical. They look for scientific facts. If you are talking about art therapy, they don't believe. What art therapy? Okay, you should give them scientific fact. For them, psychoeducation is need to prepare them for the session. Otherwise, your sessions are underwhelmed. Okay, and you see lines in their drawing. Lot of lines, vertical lines, horizontal lines, and the textures also you see small lines, crisscross, all that. They are all mechanical thinkers. And finally, passive thinkers. Passive thinkers are the small and light drawings. Okay, though you would have given an A4 sheet, you see one part of the A4 sheet is a drawing. The rest,
fully used.
They don't use the space. So this is a organic study of the persona. Okay, in what intention this person has come. This is the analytical part of it. So what is the therapeutical part of it? Give them for anybody, any kind of client this works, not specifically with respect to these. Okay, give them the spirals to draw. Okay, when you are giving and instructing them, the spirals to draw outside to inside, okay, is a therapeutical activity for anxiety. Inside to outside is a therapeutical, drawing for anger.
Anger.
Yes. Tell them to draw circles for their physical body strength. Removal of boredom and passivity and removal of toxins out of the body. Circles. Lot of people who are toxic by nature, either the physical toxic like acidity or gastritis or something will not be able to draw circles.
Oh.
And they have even problem with anti-clock and clock. See that they draw both. Sometimes they are happy drawing clockwise. Okay. Sometimes they are happy drawing anti-clockwise.
Not both together.
Okay. So this is also very important that we see that they draw all the two directions and help them to draw the triangles. Triangles is strength giving exercise. Lot of times you don't see the vertex properly, the punctured triangles, it is not equilateral. So help them to maintain. The more they indulge in certain activities like this, okay, more strength for them to see their life and paint the big picture. That is the therapeutical art where all the counselors can use this
Yes.
to calm down the emotions and to help them to relax and find answers for their questions. Healing art is you make them imagine something. Say that a person has come to you with a self-esteem issue.
Mhm.
Give an imaginary exercise where their esteem is boosted. You're sitting on the chair and whatever the dreams are there, script it and tell them whatever that you visualized, imagine, put it on the paper. Okay, heal those wounds that people has caused them by telling you you are fit for nothing, you are useless. They would have carried so many labels with them. These are all the healing ideas. Okay, so I think I gave example for each.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
analytically, how do you analyze with one tool and one tool for
therapeutic also.
and one tool for
Healing
healing.
tool.
Yeah.
Yes, wonderful, ma'am, wonderful. So the last question before we take the questions from the audience or the counselors and people who are listening to us. This question is very specific towards the career in art therapy, ma'am. The last question, because you actually gave the complete understanding of what is art therapy till the types of the process of art therapy, and tools also you explained beautifully. I think this video should not be watched once. We should watch it multiple times so that we understand what you really told. Multiple times, not one time affair. So the last question, many people want to understand from you, because being a pioneer in this field, how a normal psychologist or a normal counselor can build her career in art therapy. What are the different opportunities in India and abroad? Maybe India is also fine, ma'am. Or actually, we want to understand like the levels.
Okay.
How I can become an art therapist.
There is no licensing body in India
Achha.
When it comes to art therapy.
Ma'am.
Okay. So do art therapy from a person who is capable of answering your questions. Not a workshop will help you. Okay, I see people getting into 3 days, 4 days workshop and
Yes.
calling themselves as therapists. It's not ethical according to me.
Hours also, ma'am, nowadays. 2 घंटा, 3 घंटा भी कर रहे हैं art therapy.
So make your wise choice. Learn from a person who have enough experience. And that is how the certification is evaluated in India, because for art therapy, there is no licensing body. So, and when you are calling yourself as an art therapist, okay, keep in mind that you have done a diploma, a full-time diploma course, be it online or offline. Graduate yourself with a diploma course with set of tools for you to practice. Okay. So when you have done a diploma and you also have a psychology background, like clinical psychology or the MA or MS counseling psychology or something, you can call yourself as art therapist. You have no degree associated with psychology. You can call yourself as art practitioner. If you are thinking as on an ethical ground, but nowadays I see everybody designating themselves as art therapist. So it has to be an ethical thing. And also, if you want to do more in art therapy, explore more in art therapy. So whatever courses that you do, that is going to add value to your professional arena. So if not, it's not going to. I think I'm just here to provide information that doctorate in art therapy or the professional doctorate in art therapy associated with an international university will allow you to practice authentically art therapy in India and also consider in few countries. But when it comes to US, UK, they have their own format. Okay, American Institute of Art Therapy offers doctorate programs, offers MS programs. For that, you need to go there. There is no online as such, and there are eligibilities that you have to get over. Even Edinburgh University offer art therapy, and it is going to be 3.5, 4 years, sometimes 5 years. So you need to see if you want to go to abroad. There are a lot of ways that you can do. And is that certificate allowed in India? Yes.
Right.
Okay, that you can practice with that certificate. Otherwise, you can definitely establish your profession as a doctorate in art therapy with various research modalities. One advantage of doing it in India from an experienced person is you'll be able to understand Indian population where the tools are Indianized. Okay, when you are doing from abroad countries, none of the case studies that you can relate because we don't see such things happening here, or the entire lifestyle, our value system is different from the way they think. So you may have to put efforts to practice in India, come back and establish yourself. You may have to go through a roller coaster ride by changing the content and revising the content, tuning the content
Right.
according to Indian population.
Not suitable for Indian population.
So if you are learning, please learn from an Indian, but serve the whole globe. But when you are learning from an Westerner, keep in mind that that can't be directly applied to Indian population. You may have to put efforts to get that synced with the flowing thoughts of Indians.
Right. So to maybe make the counselors understand, if you have a degree in psychology, but you need to complete or pursue your diploma in art therapy from a reputed institution and reputed or experienced person, then that diploma plus your psychology will make you as an art
Yes.
therapist. But if you do not have any psychology degree, you just have this degree or diploma in art, then you call yourself as art practitioner.
Art therapy practitioners.
Art therapy practitioner.
See, now Fortis has come up with a plan that they are recruiting art therapy practitioners.
Okay.
Okay. And there are schools who are encouraging art therapy. Once the central government has come up with a plan that education through art. Okay. Now art therapists are getting a lot of, and one important thing that I shouldn't miss telling that this is going to be a booming profession because none of the AI tool or ChatGPT can replace you. When you are an art therapist, you need that human touch to understand strokes, to understand the emotional mechanism on the paper. So it's important that, and it is important, and also the future of the medicine looks to be the color and art.
Right, ma'am. Thank you so much for an exhaustive and very insightful interview and for answering our, questions back to back. Thank you so much, ma'am. So I will take few questions, ma'am, with your permission.
Yeah.
There are people who are already posting questions in the chat. So I'll read out, see, you are all allowed to, ask the question. Meanwhile, I'll read the questions which I have. Ma'am, someone is writing, I have a question here. Art is only restricted to paper pencil. For a few, imagery is challenging. So when someone is not able to imagine, is it okay to restrict art therapy to paper and pencil is the question.
Okay. So I would like to repeat the question if I have understood it properly. Those who have problem in imagination. Okay, will
Yes, ma'am.
therapy become restricted to that facet is what I feel
Yes.
the question.
Yeah.
So there are that is the clinical condition. When we talk about the person has limitations in imagination, it's also considered as clinical condition. So art therapy can become a support system which can provide energy to the therapies that they are taking as from the clinical practitioners. Okay, art therapy alone can't be a source of treatment. Along with that, if they are getting into psychiatry, they have to take medicines. And if they are getting into clinical psychology, they have to go through the action plans and the treatment and the regimens made by the professional. But art therapy can be a support system. But it is not the only tool. That is not it is going to create different compliance if it is used as a tool alone. Okay, it has to be accompanied with other therapies under clinical conditions, any clinical conditions.
Right, right. It will add, it will help.
Yes, it will help them to respond to the therapies. It will help them to heal with it. Yeah.
Ma'am, thank you so much, ma'am. See, we have another question. Can you share some strategies of art therapy, or maybe we can throw light for art therapy for grief and
Okay.
behavior management?
Okay. So as I told you, each to grief, there is the whole process that we need to understand that grief is of many kinds. So it's not the grief that what we know that it is the response to the loss, what kind of loss, all that. So when you have built rapport and understood the depth of grief, there are the therapeutical measures in art therapy which will help them to go through. One is Bruno Munari method, okay, where there are, the wisdom talk with the paper and with the pictures. So we give them different pictures, looking at different pictures. They are going to talk about the picture as if they are taking out, be it internal anger or they wouldn't have empathized the person, they are into guilt. See, grief is associated with so many emotions. Okay, if I have lost somebody, grief is not restricted to losing somebody. It can be a pen in the pen where my emotions are attached. So that responses to the loss, wisdom talk is a wonderful thing, which is a art therapy Gesalt method. So where I will be living here and now, but whatever the loss is, I'm giving a visual, imaginary picture. And I'm able to talk out, or I'm able to complete the picture. So it's an incomplete picture that I'm going to talk to and give completion. Okay, say that I have lost my property. I'm into grief. Okay, this incomplete picture of losing a property are related to that house, car, and something. Is that the material loss that you are bothered about? Is that the emotional attachment you had on the house? Related to that, a picture is made and the client is asked to complete it. Okay, during the completion, the loss is attended to a certain extent. So, like that, and also the pattern writing. Okay, the more zigzag that you write, okay, the one who is going through grief will not be able to draw the zigzag. Okay, the more the person writes, he will be having opportunity to channelize and talk about the grief and release the grief to some extent.
Right. Yeah, it's a vast, big
Very vast,
topic
that
to
can't be
explain.
answered in
Yes.
1 or 2 minutes also.
No, 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 ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. And one question, I think we'll take the last question.
Yeah.
Children not interested, generally children not interested in drawing nature, human figures. So, or, playing, or children playing, or flowers. But all these things, children are not interested, but they draw a lot of, the Spider-Man and the stuff. What does it mean?
Yeah. So when they are not able to relate to the reality, they are in the fantasy world. Fantasy is made out of 3 things. One, imagination. Number 2, creativity. Number 3 is the critical thinking, which is of the left side. Okay. Here I find different person as a hero. He is my influence and I adore him. And I imagine I imagine my actions through him.
Hmm.
So the whole idea is I'm not able to connect with the real world. So why am I not able to connect with the real world? Nothing is happening which is making me feel good. And nothing, so there are parents sometimes they do come up with certain things like, Ayo, I don't know to operate my mobile. If I give to my child, no, 2 minutes, he'll go to settings, blah, blah, blah. By doing that, what are you doing? What are you telling your child that I'm not capable of?
Hmm.
Learning with children is very much important.
Hmm.
Okay, we can outrageously tell no. No, I don't know. That is humble side of yours. Can we learn together is the extension that usually parents don't.
Hmm.
So they look for heroes outside the home. These people are incapable. These people are, if father at home is not getting up early in the morning and doing some jogging and exercises, definitely the child will look for a Superman outside.
Yeah, that Superman will become the role model for him.
There is nothing that child has to talk about their parents. And if mother is always crying, Ayo, after marrying your father, look at my fate. So why will the child adore you for what? Right? We have to live in front of the child as role models so that they don't have to look. So it is a fantasy based aspect where parents have to be counseled before you engage the child in the counseling session.
Um, so actually the questions are continued.
You know,
They are sending more questions. I don't know.
Geeta ji, what you can do is just put
We'll
on
send the questions, ma'am.
then. So I will let my students answer and then I
Yes.
shadow it and
Yes.
send it back.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So, yeah, I understand because the questions are keep coming. There are so many questions already in the chat, but I don't want you to, you have given enough time for us already, ma'am. Thank you so much for that. The, questions can be posted to me personally in window, and then I'll get the answers from ma'am. And then again, repost to you. Please send your number or, post those questions to me. I will definitely request ma'am to answer. Maybe ma'am students and then get back to you because it's late for ma'am. We requested 45 minutes and we already took 1 hour 15 minutes, ma'am. Really, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for being with us and looking forward to see you as guiding more and more students like us psychologists because Asha ma'am is very good in giving so many diplomas and so many certifications. So anybody who are, would looking forward or you want to go for a diploma in art therapy or any certification in art therapy, we suggest she's the right mentor and right person in the field of art therapy. So thank you so much for being with us, ma'am. And we look forward to listen from you again and again.
I shouldn't forget telling this. She spoke so much about me and as the gratitude that I have. So I see people when they have knowledge, they establish themselves as a professional, but I could see Geeta ji carrying the crew with her. It's not enough that I learn. I need to contribute. I see her as a contributor. More and more Geeta kind of people has to come forward and do good. It's not about one Geeta ji in Hyderabad can attend to hundreds of clients. She is creating more Geetas so that the whole purpose of her is met. So thanks for giving me this opportunity to share whatever little I know. And again, hats off to you for creating such a forum where people have opportunity to listen to many speakers and keep that learning machine on. So thank you, Geeta ji, and thank you everybody for having such patience throughout this session.
So this interview would be heard by many people, ma'am, budding psychologists who love to listen from you. So we look forward to meet you again, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you all. We look forward to see you for the next Sai interview coming next week, Friday, 5:15. Namaskar. Bye, ma'am.